Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Peter Barber. I'm primarily a professional opera singer, music producer, bass vocalist, host of the podcast, Vocal Arts with Peter Barber, and of course a proud member of the Bass Gang. I'm probably going to shorten that intro at some point. 5 items is too much. Too many, but here we are. Before I go on, guys, there's a great interview I did with the great Geoff Castellucci on my channel for the podcast. I'll leave that here. One of the most popular ones I've done. Really great to chat with the man himself. And today, of course, we're going to be checking out Geoff's Halloween release. This is Jack's Lament, which I actually, as far as I know, based on the title, I don't know it. As far as I know, I don't know. But that's always kind of fun to do a song that you don't know the original, and then you therefore don't have a comparison. It's fun to do both, really. This is the Patreon pre-screening of this song, so I'll obviously not release this before he releases it publicly, but I am a member of Geoff's Patreon. I support him because I think he's a genius in a lot of ways, and the kind of a bit basically the king of the basses right now, which is very cool. So we're going to check this out, guys. Please do like, subscribe, comment for the algorithm, and please, if you are enjoying this content, consider joining my Patreon. It's a great way to support me. Let's do it. Let's see what Geoff does with this song. Okay, before we get into this thing, just like a crazy chord progression, and we're in B flat minor, it sounds like, and just a very cool, very interesting descent down. I like this. He's got this like skeletal makeup on his hands and makes it look like a skeleton. That's what you'd think skeletal makeup would do. Geoff is quite solid on piano. I always love watching him play piano and play the instruments he uses. So that's just chromatic down and then back up to A flat. So he ends on the minor 3 there, but almost an entirely chromatic passage down, which is just very cool.
There are few who deny at what I do I am the best, for my talents are renowned far and wide.
That certainly wasn't an F in chest voice, was it? Certainly not.
For my talents are renowned far and wide.
Wide.
Far and wide.
Wait. No? That one. Is it?
Renowned far and wide.
It's really actually hard to tell the pitch on that note.
Renowned far and wide.
It's right down around that F1 in chest voice. Geoff's been breaking me a lot lately. I keep gaining appreciation for how low that is. How low his voice is. It's absolutely crazy. We're going to hear it one more time, then we'll go on.
Are renowned far and wide.
No, we're not going to go on. I'm going to give him a pit viper, because the fact that I can't even tell how low it is means he deserves a pit viper. Oh, Geoff.
My talents are renowned far and wide.
What? I don't even know. I don't know.
When it comes to surprises in the moonlit night, I excel without ever even trying. With the slightest little effort of my ghost-like charms, I have seen grow.
Wait a second. I just heard a vocal fry from Geoff, which I don't think I've ever heard before. He always I mean, usually he doesn't have to do anything because his chest voice is so crazy low. But usually his extended technique is subharmonics. That's his main thing. He dips into a vocal fry, I'm 99% sure, in this passage.
Never even trying, with the slightest little effort of my ghost.
Of my slightest little effort of my, whatever that, somewhere around there. That is a vocal fry or a chest fry from Geoff, 100% for sure.
Without ever even trying, with the slightest little effort of my ghost-like charms, I have
First
seen
ever.
grown men give out a shriek, with a wave of my hand and a well-placed moan. I have swept.
He's right on the fence there. This is so cool hearing him do this for the first time. You know what's interesting? People ask me often about how I strengthen my chest fry, how it has gotten so strong. And it seems like chest fry is one of those techniques that you kind of have or you don't. Maybe it can be developed. I have yet to see someone who doesn't naturally have a good chest fry develop one. But I've seen tons of people, myself included, who can't naturally do a subharmonic because there's nothing natural really, who learns how to do it. So it's this weird mechanism that it seems like it's kind of binary. And often people who have really good chest notes have really weak vocal fries. Often because they just don't have to use it because they just don't need to dip into that. Whereas me, very, very average level bass as far as range, the bass range, but I've always been able to vocal fry comfortably well below. I mean, even back in undergrad, before I even knew what the heck I was doing, there would be pieces that would have B flats or low A flats once in a while because the choir director knew I could do it. Or in like a cappella stuff, sometimes we had super low notes, chest fry. And I didn't even really think about it. And they were strong enough in a choir setting. But I know people with really strong chest voices who are also good at subharmonics that straight up don't have a chest fry. And they're like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I can just kind of do it. And I think mine has gotten really strong purely based on other kinds of training, like the operatic training I do. I've noticed a pretty linear progression in my chest fry based on how strong my voice has gotten operatically. So over the last 5 years, so much radical improvement as an opera singer, therefore the chest fry has gotten stronger. But I've always had it. I've always been able to do it. And so it's really cool to hear Geoff use this technique that often if you have a chest voice specialist and a subspecialist, they're not doing chest fry. So this is very cool to hear this part of his voice. Long rant, but those who have been with the channel and who have been with me analyzing Geoff for a while, I think you will appreciate that insight. If you're new to the channel, you've probably clicked away by now.
Like charms, I have seen grown men give out a shriek, with a wave of my hand and a
wave of my hand, and he kind of dips down into that fry again.
With a wave of my hand and a well-placed moan, I have swept the very bravest off their feet. Yet, year after year.
B flat. Also confirmed, I definitely do not know this song. I do not know the original. So this is all new. Also, I'd like to point out, it's very speech-like. And it's pretty stripped down. It's just piano and voice. And it's very much speech-like. It's more towards the kind of voice acting that we hear Geoff doing in some of the pieces like Oogie Boogie. Very different kind of voice acting. Oogie Boogie has a lot of very high stuff in it. But the Halloween stuff tends to be a little more on the kind of voice acty side, less on the singy side. But yeah, don't know the original, and it's not much. It is singing, but it is more that speech style singing.
And a well-placed moan, I have swept the very bravest off their feet. Yet, year after year, it's the same routine, and I grow so weary of the sound of screams, and I jack the
F sharp. I accept the lower one.
So weary of the sound of screams, and
I absolutely freaking glorious. I feel like I gotta, you know?
I grow so weary of the sound of screams, and I, Jack, the Pumpkin King, have grown so tired of the same old thing.
B flat, casual. That's very casual for Geoff at this point. The other thing that's wild is that he gets all these. Geoff puts out so much content, both here, his own work, and with VoicePlay, and he always has ridiculously low chest notes. Which means either he is just abusing his voice the night before every one of these recording sessions. There's probably some of that in a very planned, controlled way. But it also, I think, just means that he probably regularly has notes, maybe not an F or an F sharp, but like I would say very commonly has G's in the morning. I didn't ask him about this during our interview because he gets hounded with these kinds of questions all the time. But it just seems like those notes are becoming pretty consistent. If VoicePlay is putting out at least one project a month, and he's putting out at least one project a month, and among the minis they do also always have low notes in them. I mean, he's at least got these notes on like a weekly basis, which is very significant to have notes this low even on a weekly basis.
Oh, somewhere deep inside of these bones,
Ghost piano playing.
An emptiness began to grow. There's
So, totally different side of Geoff's voice here. Now he's singing. I guess a weird key change. We're in B flat as a tritone off. Very fitting for Halloween. The devil's interval, as they call it. Yeah, tritone. If you guys can hear that on the piano. And then goes up into ya-da-da-dum, like a much lighter, just a much lighter mechanism. It's not all that. It is higher, actually, than what he was singing. It's about an octave up, I would say, on average. A little more than an octave up on average. Octave and a half, which is actually pretty significant. But the point really is just the kind of color change. He goes from like the dark, spooky Halloween to like the kind of more like whimsical Halloween voice.
oh, somewhere deep inside of these bones, an emptiness began to grow. There's something out there far from my home, a longing that
Ugh. The B flat, maybe. A. No, G. G. G.
home, a longing that I've never known. I'm the master of fright and a demon of light, and I'll scare you right out of your pants. To a god.
Ooh. Okay, first of all, awesome E1 subharmonic. Just super clean. Super clean. Let's hear that again. And then now, I'm glad. So, for a second, I thought it was going to be a really short song. So, I'm glad we're getting into like, we had like a B section, now we're getting like a C section. Not that kind of C section.
Began to grow. There's something out there far from my home, a longing that I've never known.
Smooth.
I'm the master of fright and a demon of night, and I'll scare you right out of your pants.
I wanted to pause it there.
To a guy in Kentucky, I'm Mr. Unlucky, and I'm known throughout England and France.
Notice how you get 3 Geoffs at the same time. You have the one in the middle, and then panned left, right. So you get another Geoff in each ear. And then he does this spooky, like where he films it and then speeds up the film to zip back to the back of the set.
And I'm known throughout England and France.
Shouldn't be flagged. Let me go back before that so you can hear the voices go.
Scare you right out of your pants. To a guy in Kentucky, I'm Mr. Unlucky, and I'm known throughout England and France. Bonjour. And since I am dead, I can take off my head to recite Shakespearean quotations. No animal nor man can scream like I can with the fury of my recitation.
Ooh, boy. That just got way cooler. You can't go wrong with a hard kick and snare. It makes like any song sound cooler. And then we're getting multiple voices, and we're getting some of that high mix spell. Probably up to like a A or B. We'll see when we get there. But a lot of new elements have just come into the mix. Very cool.
England and France.
Bonjour.
And since I am dead, I can take off my head to recite Shakespearean quotations. No animal nor man can scream like I can.
High C. Tenor high C and a nice mixed belt there from Geoff. With some harmonies, I believe, as well. Or at least multiple takes.
No animal nor man can scream like I can.
Scream like I can, scream like I can.
With the fury of my recitation.
Just a fat low A.
Of my recitations. But who
With the eyes.
would ever understand that the Pumpkin King with a skeleton grin would tire of his crown if they only understood he'd give it all up if he only could.
What is this? I need to go hear the original. So the Pumpkin King, jack-o'-lantern type lore. So we went from, I love it, the drum set comes in, kick, snare, multiple voices, super rangy, and then it goes back to piano and sounding more like a lament.
Up if you only could. Oh, there's an empty place in my bones that calls out for something unknown.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm offended. Another F sharp 1 in pure chest voice.
That calls out for something unknown. The fame and praise come year after year, does nothing for these empty tears.
Okay, also, we did have some strings going on. Guys, the F sharps, it used to be G's. You know, we heard Geoff like a few years ago, and he started kind of moving into like low G territory. He started doing them more often, and then it became like a normal thing. We're like, okay, Geoff has G's. And now F sharp is becoming much, much more common. And who knows, in another few years, maybe it's going to be F. And then how low is this man's voice going to get? We don't know. Listen to this last section again. Also, if this It sounds very chesty. It does not sound like a sub, this last F sharp. So I think it's a long sustained F sharp 1, chest.
Please come year after year, does nothing for
What ooze, strings. So that moon looks sick. Wow. Okay. I was like pretty neutral when the song first started because it was just very minimal and it was all kind of in the low range, which we love, but there just wasn't much going on. The set looks great. Geoff looks great. But then the more things that got added in, the more I got invested in it. And of course, because I'm just an absolute sucker for a hard kick snare pattern whenever it comes in, especially when you don't expect it, when you're like, oh, it's this weird kind of spooky lament, and then you hear just you're like, hell yeah, hard. Goes hard. Big investment. By the end, really like this from Geoff. Very cool. A lot of cool voice acting bits. Very rangy. High C to, I think, E1. E1 to C5 in this cover here. Unless there were higher parts in the harmony. There might have been higher parts in those oohs and kind of ghostly backing Geoff's. But in the solo, high C to E flat to E1. F, I think an F1 in chest. A lot of F sharps in chest. Awesome Halloween release. Geoff does it again. Guys, hope you enjoyed. Hope you gained more appreciation for Geoff, if that's even possible at this point. Go watch Geoff and I's hour-long interview right here, unless it got linked earlier. You can only link a video once per video. Go check that out. Guys, it's a great chat, and you get to see Geoff a little bit behind the scenes, which is awesome. Really enjoyed chatting with him. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you learned something. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment for the algorithm, and please consider joining my Patreon. It's the best way to support me. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.